The Gameday Broadcast Network is proud to present Baseball Media Day, hosted by the Ballpark, Loudoun. Baseball Media Day is brought to you by Capital Closets, a perfect solution for all of your storage needs. By Integrated Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy. Visit Robin O'Connor and her team the next time you have to get back in the game. And by Finnegan's Grill and Irish Pub, the best sports pub and grill in Ashburn.
I'm Rusty Smith, the baseball coach at Woodgrove. Just recap last year for us. Played well early on, kind of fell apart towards the end of the year. Just couldn't find ways to win games in the end. We were in every game competitive, just couldn't find ways to win in the end of the year. Had a lot of things off the field going on with us at the end of last year, but I don't want to make excuses about that and say that's what caused a lot of our problems. But we had some things happening, so a little bit of that. I got 10 seniors this year back with me, so they know how the program works. They know how we do things. They know what the expectations are. So practice so far in this first week has been awesome. The guys get after it. They know when they get there what we're expected to do, and they get there and they work every day. I got a senior going to Marshall next year on the mound. He's my only committed guy as of right now. But I got some seniors that have aspirations to play, may walk on somewhere, or D3 is still looking at guys, so they may go there. They're talented guys that can help us out, help us win games. I think they can help college baseball teams win some games as well if they want to. So I have all my pitching staff back except for one guy. One of my seniors from last year is at the University of Maryland now. He's actually out of the bullpen for them. He's probably pitching right now as we speak, actually, for him today. So everybody else that I had get innings last year is back for me this year, so that's a positive for us. We're going to start a lot of new guys offensively and in the field. Older guys that just haven't played a ton of varsity innings for us yet, but they've been in the program and they know how to do things, and they're very talented guys. They just have to go out there and get used to that varsity speed versus that JV speed when we get out there. We definitely did not do ourselves any favors with our schedule. I think it's a good thing and a bad thing at times. Early on, we have some tough games we have to go. We were going to Freedom, defending 6A state champ. So it'll be a good test for our guys early. A week after that, we go play South Lakes, 6A region team. And then about a month after that, we go and play at Madison, another 6A powerhouse. So our guys are going to get tested. I think it's good for them. So we'll see what happens.
Coach George Calsa from Gameday magazine. Sounds like pitching is going to be the strength of your team. Who are the hitters that you're going to rely on to get some offense going? Yeah,
our pitching is definitely our strength, and our defense is definitely a strength for us as well. Some hitters that we're going to count on, we have a returning shortstop, Tino Saporito, who was a sophomore starter last year, started 19 games, hit leadoff, on-base percentage over 500. He's going to have to be that guy again this year. Tony Camarota was an all-region player for us last year, who is back again. Just probably one of the best athletes in the state of Virginia, and he's just going to have to go out there and be an athlete and go and play and see what happens. Tyler Payne, who was here with me today, is a junior who has not had any varsity at-bats, maybe 4 or 5 varsity at-bats, but we're going to rely on him to have a huge year for us. He's super athletic, super strong kid. He's just going to have to compete and find ways to get on base. We have guys that are competitive. Chris McCullers going to play football at Villanova, big, strong kid who is competitive at the plate and just going to have to find ways to get on base. We've talked about our year this first week of the season, and our guys know that we might not be the best baseball players of everybody around this area, but we are the best athletic team. It's the most athletic team I've ever coached. So we're just going to rely on our guys to be athletes and use that athleticism to find ways to get on base and score some runs that way. We might not hit 450 as a team, but we're going to get on base and we're going to fly around the bases.
Coach Bob Duncan from Gameday magazine. Glad you could be with us, and best of luck to your team this season.
Thank you.
How would your players describe you as a leader? I mean, obviously you're looking for your class of seniors to be leaders in the clubhouse and on the bench, but how would your players describe you as a leader? I
would hope that they would say that I kind of let our guys be themselves and do what they do best. I heard some of the things that at their interviews out there about the impersonation of me and the things that we talk about. And they know the big things for me: be on time, be accountable for your actions, and work your butt off when you're there. So for me, my thing with my guys is I don't put a million rules in place, and I don't do all that. I want my guys to be there on time. I want them to know the expectations and work their butts off while they're there, and I want them to be as athletic as they can be and do the best job they can on that given day. But, I've been doing this 10 years now, and what I've found is I'm only going to be as good as my leaders, players-wise, as we're going to be. I can be the greatest leader in the world, and I can have all the answers. But if I don't have a solid group of older guys that are going to be the leaders they need to be, kind of an extension of myself, we're going to win 12, 13 games and make it to the region tournament, and that'll be as far as we go. So I would hope that my guys would say that I encourage them to be themselves as much as they can be themselves while also working hard every day.
Coach, let me follow up on that question with, how is this particular group of players making you a better coach?
This group makes me a better coach because they're fun to be around, and whenever it's a fun group to be around, as a coach, you always want to find ways to help them excel. And because they're not the most talented baseball players in the world, I would say, but they're the best athletes I've had, they have kind of forced me to think about how do we make our strengths into winning games. So maybe it's not the X's and O's of the baseball and how we're going to do this and how we're going to do that, but it's how do I get my guys in the most successful positions I can to be athletes and do what they do.
Coach, you mentioned earlier that you got a pitcher that's going to be headed to Marshall, and you got some other guys that are starting to get some sniffs from some other schools. What would you tell a player who wants to play at the next level? What would you tell him to put himself in the best position, and then how can you assist with that process?
I would tell him it's hard. It's really hard. The recruiting process is not fun. You're going to get frustrated. You're not going to like everything you hear from everybody. It stinks. But if this is what you love to do, we just have to grind and find a way to get it where we want to be. And sometimes, maybe the school that you think is your dream school isn't where it's not your dream school once you go visit that place and you see that and you know what the baseball is all about. So my biggest advice to kids is go somewhere you're going to play. Don't be so caught up in I've got to go play at this school, I got to go play at that school. If you're being recruited and somebody's offering you money to come play there, but you don't know if, you might not see the field till you're a junior, maybe that's not the place for you. But somebody else, maybe it's a Division III school, is telling you to come right in now and play as a freshman. Go play. The way the transfer portal is nowadays, go play 2 years Division III baseball, be a stud, and then transfer somewhere.
What would the Rusty Smith that's standing here, what kind of advice would you give to the Rusty Smith who 10 years ago started his coaching career?
Get to know your players more in the beginning. I think, as a first-year coach or the young guy going in for the first time, you want everybody to know that I know baseball, and this is how we're going to do things. It's going to be my way. I know what I want. I know how we're going to get this done. I know how to win games. Get to know your guys. Get to know who's there. Love them. Show them that you care about them. I know it's the old cliche, but the more that, with high school kids especially, that, some of them aren't only baseball players. They play football. They wrestle. They play basketball. They're not going to play baseball in college. Get to know the things that drive them and make them want to be good, and find a way to push them in that. And just, the baseball stuff is important, and your expectations of what they should do as a first-year coach is all important stuff. But if you don't know your guys, it's not going to matter.
Coach, what are some of the most memorable moments that you've had in your 10 years as a coach?
So as an assistant, we won a state championship when I was at Loudoun Valley with Coach Todd, which was always, winning the state championship's awesome. It's great. 2 years ago, we had the, modified season. We made it to the state final, and we got to play the state semifinal and the state final at home, which was awesome. Seeing everybody come out and all that. But just for me, the biggest thing is how the coaches and the players in the baseball world are all one big family and group. I had a family tragedy at the end of, last year, and just the phone calls and text messages and the outpouring of support that I got from the other coaches was probably my biggest memory from the last 10 years of everybody that just cares about you as a person more than as a baseball coach.
Coach, are you communicating with other members of the coaching fraternity, like Coach Todd, and off-season, of course.
Yeah.
On how to improve your program and what they're doing and what you're doing.
Yeah, so we talk a lot, now that we have all these Green Day practices that we can do, and you have so many different opportunities to get in front of your guys. I think it's important that we as coaches get together because, especially, like I was saying earlier, you have guys that aren't just baseball players. So how do we get the most out of our guys when we only have 10 guys there because we have some football players? Or how do we get the most out of our guys? Me and Coach Todd talk frequently. I talk to other guys who might not be high school coaches anymore, but were in this world at one point, who I've known for a long time, and get their advice on things. And I talk to Coach Plank quite a bit just about, we kind of have the same kind of kid as Riverside. We're that same kind of demographic of player. So just to see what they're doing is kind of nice to see, we can implement some of those things. I think the biggest thing for us is the weight room in the off season. I try to get my guys in there. My guys do not have an issue strength-wise right now, varsity-wise. But my younger guys, that we got to get in the weight room, we got to get bigger, we got to get stronger, just translates into we can do the other stuff when you're strong enough to do it.
Coach, it's great having you at Media Day. We wish you the best of luck here when we fall in the Wolverines this year.
Thank you.
This presentation of Game Day Baseball Media Day has been brought to you by the Ballpark Loudoun, the newest home for baseball training, team parties, and corporate events in Loudoun County, Virginia. Come live the experience. To watch more of Game Day Baseball Media Day, visit the Game Day Nation Facebook page at facebook.com/Game Day Broadcast and on Twitter at GBN Mobile.